think for a moment about the pride you feel when you think of American soldiers and of the successes and accomplishments that they have given our country, the freedoms that they have protected. Commonly, when citizens think of U.S. soldiers, they have a positive outlook on the soldiers themselves, their actions, and on the images that they provide for our country. These are the people that we depend on to protect our freedoms and to protect our country. If they commit despicable crimes or have any disgraces and we do not give them punishment for them, then we all as a nation look despicable because we are giving these soldiers a pat on the back for their wrongdoing and enabling them to continue it rather than standing up for what is right. No one wants to see a soldier do something wrong, but inevitably it happens to us all. Because of a friend's recent interest in the military, I've taken a great deal of time focusing on military-related topics, and it has become an interest of my own. As United States citizens, soldiers have the same rights. They are free to be able to choose their own occupation. They are aware of the risks and benefits of their chosen occupation, and they receive severe training to make sure that they are informed of the values and expectations of their job and country before they begin. Let me begin by explaining that, like all citizens of our country, soldiers have the same rights and opportunities. As international and national needs continue to grow, the need for soldiers will be useful and safe. So having ethical and moral soldiers who abide by our law will greatly benefit us all. I know as a U.S. citizen, I would be fearful to know that the country I live in, the freedoms that are protected for me, and the laws I abide by are being broken and violated by the very individuals that I depended on to protect them and respected. If we see our flaws and problems and we do not fix them, others see our weaknesses as well. Being seen as weak or having many weaknesses is not acceptable in this time of day. Which one would you prefer to go against? A country who is torn in itself by its own people and its own issues, seen as weak, or one that appears strong and unified with moral-filled people? In the news, we've seen soldiers urinating on corpses and posing with bloody limbs. Robert Burns, in a Yahoo News article, mentions that those Marines who were urinating on the corpses, they were never publicly recognized for their wrongdoing, for their abuses. And then the pictures of soldiers with the bloody limbs, they were taken in 2010, and just recently in 2012 were surfaced and covered in the news for the people to see. And for both of these cases so far, there was only a promise made for punishment, and we haven't heard anything more. Once we hear of a promise, we rarely seek more information. But promises shouldn't be good enough. We need action and equal punishment, that if a civilian or any other person did this thing, the punishment that they would get, that you would get if you did it. We need action so that we can get well-rounded soldiers for our military. Being a soldier is an option. You could be a doctor, you could be a teacher, you could be a carpenter, you could be a soldier. It is a choice, and as students right now in college, we've made the choice on what we want to do, and we are going through our training to get this information, so we are aware of the risks of what we want to do and of the benefits of it. And soldiers, through their training, they receive the same thing. In my audience survey, 20 out of the 25 participating agreed that soldiers do receive adequate training for their job. Being a soldier is like making a choice. You can have peas or you can have carrots. Now I'll explain the importance of a soldier's ethics relating to our protection and the quality of that protection that we get. If the soldier shies away from the ethical and moral standards that he learns in training and that he's supposed to follow, and he commits a crime, it's important to bring equal punishment, not only to follow our own Constitution and bring justice to our own system, but to continue equality of first-rate soldiers in our military for our own benefit and protection. And according to Marwais Khan, a Yahoo News article in March 2012, the atrocities that our own soldiers are committing and that we are seeing of our own soldiers are rising. They can be the focus in the news for weeks or months, and we follow it. And as soon as we hear a promise that something's going to happen to them or that justice will be given, there's little coverage after that. And it's sad that we even seek little coverage after that to make sure that our own problems are being taken care of. There's a deepening crisis in the morals of our soldiers, so what would that mean for us, the protected? Well, it's important to let soldiers know that they're not going to be put above the law just because they're defending it. They need to have the knowledge and fear that they would be treated as a civilian when they commit their crimes. That fear will decrease the likelihood that such carnage and abuse would occur. It can be compared to a mom scolding a child. The child does something wrong. The mom says no, provides a timeout or a punishment. Well, the kid's less likely to do the same thing again or make a mistake similar to it. So now that you're able to see why it's so important to get equal punishment in addition to equal rights, I'll explain what an outcome would be like if as a nation we're able to help our soldiers accept their wrongs and learn from them and not enable them or cover them up. So imagine that you're at home and it's in the middle of an ongoing war and you're sitting at home watching the news. And the story flashes upon the screen of American soldiers committing crimes and atrocities and abuses against peoples of another nation. These are the people that are protecting you, your freedoms, and your children's freedoms, and grandchildren, and just generations to come. Are these the kind of people you want to depend so much on? What if they get away with these things with no consequences? Well, with consequences, you will feel safer. Your kids will be safer. And the United States will appear unified and strong to any opposition in the world. We will, as a better, feel safer and protected. So today I've discussed that becoming a soldier is a choice, and that when making that choice, one is promising to protect the U.S. citizens, the Constitution, and the principles that it stands for. When a soldier commits a crime, there should be no doubt in our mind that a punishment will be given, a deserving equal punishment. In an audience survey, 100 of the people that were participating, 100% agreed that when any citizen of the United States, not simply a soldier, commits a crime, that deserving punishment should be given. So it's important to speak up when you hear about these inequalities and these wrongdoings and raise awareness about them because they will benefit future generations. If one defends the Constitution, then one should abide by it and all of its guides and rules.